Are you looking to improve at Valorant and need some outside-the-box ideas? Check out these 7 ways you can improve without even loading up the game. When you're playing ranked in any game, you're more often than not working on improving as a player. Did you know that there are steps you could be taking to improve at Valorant even when you're not actively in-game? In today's guide, we're going to run through 7 ways that you can step up your game in Valorant without launching the game. Watch high-ranked streamers or pro players. The first tip on the list is to watch top content creators or pro players as they play Valorant. We don't just mean sitting back and relaxing with a stream up, though. You should be paying close attention to their habits as well as their teammates' gameplay if you plan to improve at Valorant. Everything from their movement, crosshair placement, communication, and their utility usage can provide you with a learning opportunity. You can even try to replicate how they've positioned themselves at their desk for more comfort when you end up playing longer sessions. When you see what the top players do and bring that over to your own game, you're elevating your performance past what your friends and teammates ordinarily expect from you, and you could begin to inspire your teammates to do the same. There are few things that are better when you're playing than feeling like you're a cut above everyone else in the lobby. Taking a course. One of the best ways to become a great player is by learning from the very best players on the scene. There are many resources out there, but none are quite as good as investing in a course from the top players in the world. ProGuides offers a wide variety of courses from some of the best players in the world, such as Boaster and El Diablo himself. Yay! A ProGuides subscription will only run you $9.99, and you'll get unlimited access to the entire course backlog and the new courses we continue to add. If you're not quite sure what course would fit best, try asking the AIM Labs Discovery AI, as it can suggest courses based on the gameplay issues you're trying to improve on. Watching guides and videos. When it comes to learning in Valorant, you really might not know what you don't actually know. In those cases, watching educational content can be a huge help to help you along your path to improve at Valorant. It can clue you into something you may not have realized you were doing wrong, or simply teach you something that you can do better. YouTube channels such as ours, Skillcapped, Average Jonas, and countless others are perfect for anything from learning new agents, improving your mechanics, or developing your tactical skills. If you really want to learn a lot and progress on your Valorant path, consider turning on notifications for your favorite channels to make sure you don't miss any new videos. It could be the difference between winning or losing games week to week if you're missing out on some tips that could have revolutionized the way you play an agent or a map. Aim training. Sure, aim really only represents a single aspect of what it takes to make up a good player. Having reliable aim, however, can carry you through games and cover up for any mistakes or lapses in judgment tactically. The easiest and fastest way to improve your aim is through aim training, such as apps like AIM Labs. Simply queuing up for ranked games isn't usually enough to improve your accuracy since there are bouts of downtime where you're not flexing those aiming muscles. When you use an aim trainer, you're in a much better position to develop your mouse control, and you'll be warmed up for your Valorant session ahead. AIM Labs is a particularly good choice since it has a variety of statistics to track your performance to tell you what to work on, as well as Valorant-specific maps and scenarios to perfect your crosshair placement and positioning. There are many more benefits to aim training, so if that's something you're interested in hearing more about, let us know with some feedback. Changing your mindset. Aiming isn't the only thing that requires some training to improve. One of the most common factors holding players back is a lack of mental preparation before they jump into a Valorant session. Oftentimes, players in lower ranks will lack the confidence that they need to succeed. Developing that confidence and avoiding tilt is one of the key processes that all of the top players have to go through to climb up the ranks, so we have 2 tips that can help you become a more confident player. The first tip is to spend plenty of time warming up in deathmatches before your ranked sessions. When you play until your aim feels crispy and effortless, you're more likely to take calculated risks in your ranked games, which can lead to much better results. If you aren't feeling relaxed with your mechanics, you'll understandably be more nervous as you take fights, and consequently, you'll be more likely to lose your duels. Trust us when we say, it's better to warm up beforehand. The second way that you can improve confidence is by playing more swift play, unrated, or even going on an alt account. Now, we want to make it clear that we're not suggesting that you smuff, we mean playing at the same rank on a different account. By playing at the same rank without feeling the pressure that comes from a requirement to perform well, you're able to play with confidence and demythologize the players in your ELO, while you realize that you're just as good, if not better than that competition. Many players will get anxious knowing that their only Valorant ELO points are on the line, and more often than not, these negative emotions ultimately have a very negative impact on your performance. If you're able to show yourself that you can easily reach your own rank on a second account and potentially even outperform your perceived ceiling. Once you're back on your main account, your confidence will either be much better, or at the very least, you'll know that there are issues you can improve upon rather than simply lacking the raw skill. That's not all, though. There are more things to mindset than trying not to tilt and building up your confidence. There are also other things that you can implement, such as the ABC game, for example. We won't go too in-depth on this here, but you can check out a video that breaks it down better. But to summarize, the ABC technique is something that can help you with your gameplay consistency. It helps you quantify your skill in a range of performance, it teaches you important cues to play at your best more often, and it helps to mitigate your bad performances as well. Ultimately, it is just a very important part of esports psychology, so if you're interested, check out the video. Getting coached. If you're looking for more tailored advice on how to improve which is suited to your own gameplay, your best course of action is hiring a Valorant coach. Coaches are able to go through a VOD with you and provide advice on how you can perform better in the situations presented on the replay. Since the information will be tailored to your gameplay in particular, you're able to make adjustments to fix any bad habits you may have without even realizing it. It removes the ambiguity with respect to whether or not the advice applies to you, and it can tell you exactly what you need to do instead of having to read the tea leaves for tips. Listening to podcasts. Sometimes, getting better requires gathering opinions from the right people. One good way to absorb information from successful players or coaches instead of your higher-ranked friends is by listening to Valorant podcasts. One of our favorites is the DDK podcast hosted by the caster and current 100 Thieves general manager himself. He often has pro players as guests and talks a lot about what it takes to climb and compete at the highest levels of play. They cover everything from specifics on mechanics and tactics to general advice on mentality and the balance between gaming and your everyday life. If you're serious about wanting to improve at Valorant, make it a habit to seek out and listen to insightful podcasts. It's not only fun to listen to people talk shop about something you're passionate about, it's also a great way to learn during times when you can't be in-game. We hope that these 7 suggestions have pointed you in the right direction to continue improving, and if you've had any success with this or know of something we've missed, be sure to let us know. Improve your aim. Having precise aim in Valorant is a must and can be the difference between victory and defeat. Although abilities play a key role, aiming is still the foundation of the game. There are several ways to improve your shooting accuracy. You can turn on practice mode, where there are several options to choose from, but shooting range mode is the most suitable for aim practice. In it, you can practice shooting on bots or aiming with Agent Jet's ultimate aiming gun, for example. You can also set the speed at which they spawn and disappear. In addition, you can change the aiming sensitivity directly in the shooting range. If you find the bot aiming too easy, move to Deathmatch, where you'll already be playing against normal players on classic maps. This will serve well as a warm-up before a match, as you don't use abilities there, just shoot, and if your opponent accidentally disables you, you'll revive right away. Another cool option is to use the external Aim Lab app, which you can find on Steam. While not directly part of Valorant, Aim Lab is the official training partner for Valorant VCT and offers over 12,000 different training options. Of course, it can adapt to your personal settings and evaluate your aim skills. Communication is key. Valorant is a team game, so make sure you're in tune with your compatriots. Use voice chat or the ping system to relay information, coordinate strategies, and call out enemy positions. As they say, don't suffer in silence. Get talking, and you can guarantee things will get miles easier. Communication starts in the lobby, where your team chooses their agents. The best option is if all 5 of you can agree on a suitable combination, and no one will immediately and selfishly insta-lock your preferred agent. Unless you're playing full stack with your buddies, the insta-lock agent may be the first problem for team communication of an uncomfortable player. Something you can't do without either is understanding the terms being called and when to use them. If you've never played an FPS game, these terms will be difficult for you to pick up, so read our glossary to learn Valorant's basic terms and expressions, and how to communicate and shop properly in the game. Learn the maps properly. If you really want to win, each intricately crafted Valorant map needs to be learned until you know it like the back of your hand. Learning call-out spots, high traffic areas, and vantage points will automatically raise your game to the next level with no necessary skill required. On most maps, you'll find general terms such as mid, A site, B site, defender, CT, and attacker, T, spawn. In reality, however, you need to know more than the basics of each map to give your teammates the most accurate information about opponent's position. Often, they're named after their surroundings, which makes the information very intuitive. For example, on the Bind map, an area is named Garden because there are flowers there. A great help is to open the map, which contains a lot of basic positions. In the original setup, you open it with the M key, and be sure to use pinging, which you can use to mark the exact location of your opponent on the map at a glance. Master your agents. You won't have all agents unlocked at the start. Only Brimstone, Jet, Phoenix, Owl, and Sage will be available initially. These are relatively simple agents, and using their abilities isn't difficult. The agents are divided by role into initiators, duelists, sentinels, and controllers, so play each of them to see if you enjoy a more aggressive or passive style of play. No agent is difficult to use, but some require more training and skill. The duelist Phoenix is a bit easier than Jet to start with, but if you compare those two duelists to Agent Yoru, they're very simple. In fact, Yoru has teleporting and blinding abilities, which need to be practiced before the match because using them wrong can cost you your life. We recommend that you practice each agent's abilities in training or custom mode. Firstly, you'll know what each agent does, and secondly, you might find one that really suits you. Learn from the best. In the beginning, you just need to play, and play some more. You need to get used to how the game works, how to move and shoot, what the agents do, and what the maps look like. Sooner or later, though, you'll reach a stage where you'll know the basics and reach a good rank, but your improvement will stall. In this case, you have to know for yourself if you're failing against better opponents or if it's team play or agent skills giving you trouble. In any case, outside of individual training, the best advice is always to learn from better players by watching top-level tournaments like Red Bull Homeground, which boasts some of the world's sharpest Valorant shooters. Stay positive. It's a great mindset to have in all walks of life, and certainly in your Valorant ventures, to remain positive. Don't let your head drop if you're having a bad game. Stay focused, and success will come. By following these tips, you'll build a strong foundation for success. One day, maybe you'll even make it into the world of esports, but that's a long road. Remember, practice, teamwork, and adaptability are your allies on the path to becoming a Valorant champion. Good luck, agent. Your setup matters. It would be great for everyone to have an even playing field, and for me to be able to genuinely tell you that your setup doesn't matter in the context of your gaming performance. Unfortunately, I would simply be lying to you. Yes, it is true that your raw skill is more important than the setup you have, but if you have a setup that limits you from exceeding your current skill cap, then it is acting as a handicap and needs to change. Since having a good setup is something that is purely based on buying better equipment/hardware, I will keep this section short. To me, the most important parts of any setup are the mouse, the monitor, and the mousepad, in that order. If you don't have a mouse that fits well in your hand, and suits your grip style, claw grip, fingertip grip, palm grip, then you won't be able to reach the peak of your potential raw aim. Once again, do not copy the pros here. They do not have the same hand size as you, and them being able to land 10 headshots in a row using the Logitech G Pro doesn't mean that you will too. Some recommendations I have for mice are Zowie EC Series. I personally use an EC2B Divina, Zowie Divina S Series. If you prefer ambidextrous mice, Dead Hatter Elite gets a lot of hate, but the shape is great/quality not the best. Logitech G Pro, hands down the best wireless mouse out there if you have medium/small hands. After mice comes your monitor. This is pretty simple. You want a monitor that is 144Hz plus, as you will only be able to see as much FPS on screen as your monitors. HZ value. This is crucial to avoid choppy gameplay and improve your tracking and reaction time. In games like CS or Valorant, where reacting quickly to an enemy peeking you is the difference between winning or losing a round, this is especially important. 144Hz monitors are not too expensive anymore, being able to get a decent bank monitor for around €200, XL2411p. Finally, you want to have a large enough mousepad to accommodate your mouse movements, large enough that you don't stumble across the problem of having to lift your mouse to readjust or reach the end of the pad too often. Low versus high sensitivity. What should you use? I won't go too in-depth on this part of the post, as sensitivity is mostly subjective, although I highly recommend playing on sensitivities in the range of 35 to 55 cm/360 at 400 dpi for games like CS or Valorant. In general, the range of effective sensitivities varies depending on the aspect of aim. Sensitivities in the range of 22 to 32 cm/360 are what's mostly used by pros for highly aim-reliant and mostly tracking-reliant games such as Quake or Diabolical, while for click timing-oriented games that don't require large mouse movements such as CSGO or Valorant, sensitivities that pros use are usually 35 plus cm/360. The most popular sensitivity used by professional players in CSGO is 51 cm/360, or 2 in-game sens at 400 dpi, and I would suggest that people stick to a sensitivity near that for Valorant. the 51 cm/360 sens in Valorant would be 0.63 in-game at 400 DPI. Since DPI fluctuates between players, a good way to compare sensitivities is by using eDPI values, which is your in-game sensitivity multiplied by your DPI, 51 cm/360 or 0.63 in Valorant at 400 DPI, gives us a value of 252. I highly recommend that for a game like Valorant, people stick to the range of 200 to 300 eDPI, as such 5v5 comp FPS games aren't as aim-reliant but mostly rely on your ability to maintain good crosshair placement and hold angles, which are both benefited by lower sensitivities. Now, you may ask why 70 to 80% of active pros in CSGO still use 400 DPI when 800 DPI is technically better. The answer to that is quite simple. 400 DPI is less accurate in tracking fine movements while 800 DPI is more accurate in that matter. In theory, picking up on fine movement may seem like a good thing, but realistically nobody has a perfectly steady hand, and in a game like Valorant where you need to maintain consistent head-level crosshair placement at all times, you want to minimize involuntary movements/jitter as much as possible. One thing to take note of is that if you're playing above 1080p as a resolution, you shouldn't be due to input lag/lower FPS anyway. 400 DPI may result in pixel skipping and you might need to move up to 800 DPI. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on the latest news and updates. Drop a comment below sharing your favorite gaming setup tips or what you'd like to see next on the channel. Let's build a gaming community together.